afternoon. This is Chappell at TV24. We have a special guest here this afternoon. This is Mr. Keith Kelley. How you doing, Keith?
I'm doing great, Kip. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, Keith?
Sure. I'm a native of Calhoun County, born and raised here. My wife and I have been married for over 40 years, and my whole family's here. And I'm a business owner in Anniston. I've owned a real estate company there for over 27 years. I've had a number of other businesses that we've operated, and there's a lot in our background of business type background. My father was in business for himself, so that's kind of what we know.
That's great, Keith. Can you tell us how long you lived in Calhoun County?
I've lived in Calhoun County all my life. Went to school local at Alexandria High School, and one of the greatest events and things that I had there was being in the Future Farmers of America. It taught me a lot of things about life, and also was very instrumental in me learning about business and record keeping, and I think a lot of my business success has come from the foundation that I learned there.
That's great, Keith. Are you running for, what district are you running in?
Yeah, I'm running for Alabama Senate State District 12, which encompasses Calhoun County and most of Talladega County, all the way down to the Talladega County line to the south. So it'll be primarily both of those counties.
That's great. Have you ever run for any office, Keith?
I haven't. I've been involved in the political world for quite some time. I was president of the state largest trade association, and then on the board of directors for the national largest business association. And so over the years, I've done a lot of legislative type work as a volunteer, never got paid for any of it. And so we've been involved in trying to help protect private property rights and things like that. And so that's kind of a little bit of background about me, and was very involved in the BP oil spill, the negotiations for the state of Alabama. Governor Riley put me in charge of some of that as a volunteer. So got a lot of experience for a volunteer that's never had a paying position.
That's great, Keith. We're glad to have you here today. And
thank you.
And I know a lot of interesting things that you have said today, and your background, first time running. What is some things that you would like to do if elected, official elected for your position?
Well, I think one of the biggest things we've got to do is we've got to get to protecting our state rights again. The federal government has intruded on our state rights quite a bit. We've got to stand up and protect our state from that. If not, a lot of the things we've seen going on around the country is going to come and make its way into Alabama. We're already seeing that of some of our neighboring states and some here. So we've got to protect those interests, I think, one thing, and we've got to promote small business. The other thing is I think we've got to really look at education, and I think getting our workforce right. And a lot of that may be in some vocational training earlier than what we're doing it now.
That's great, Keith. One thing stands out, and just being around in my 20 years old, I've seen you do a lot of the telethons around Calhoun County. Can you tell the listeners here this afternoon today about some of that? Sure.
Yeah. I've done a lot of volunteer work over the years. Some of the UCP telethons, that's one of the things I enjoy. I feel like God has called me to be a servant, and so whether I was ever elected to office or not, that's what I felt like my calling was. And so I've been doing that since I was, as long as I can remember, probably around 20 or so. We've also did a lot for in child abuse prevention. I've served on the Child Abuse Prevention Board, so we've done things to help them get grants and put some of that out. I've also served on the Small Business Commission. So we've done things to try to help promote small business, and done some legislative type work to try to promote small business expansion in the state. But one of the other things I really felt strong about as far as community work is I was honored to be involved in a couple of veterans flights. I was not able to serve myself. I was colorblind, and they wouldn't take me. And so I tried to find another way to serve, and so that was through trying to help veterans in another way. And one of those were the Veterans Flight, and that's been one of the greatest blessings of my life.
That's great, Keith. A lot of your roots is here in Calhoun County.
Yeah.
A lot of your roots, and
Yeah.
I know also that you are in the real estate business.
Yeah.
And that is super. And can you tell the listeners some more things about the running? What some things that you've seen in running in the campaign,
Okay.
and some things that you have seen along the way of being the first time running for the Alabama State Senate.
Okay. Well, one of the greatest things that I had early on was to be endorsed by Congressman Rogers and supported by Governor Riley because of some other things that I've done. And my work in the real estate business, a lot of that involves economic development, bringing people into the area. You know, companies will hire us. We come in and find a number of sites that they may relocate to. Sometimes we try to help get economic incentives for them and bring jobs and that sort of thing. So that part of it with the elected position wouldn't change that much, because that's something I've been doing for a lot of years and accustomed to it. The running for office is a little bit different. There's met a lot of great people out in the streets and going to various events, and it's really been a blessing. Also, the thing you got to be careful of, people will tell you exactly what they feel, and that's what you want to know. You want to know what they're thinking. And so that's just kind of one of the things that we've gone through. And I think a lot of it, having some of the relationships that I've had with elected officials and actually having worked on legislation to get passed, kind of helps me to have an insight. One of the biggest things that happens when you're trying to get something passed is you've got to build coalitions and get people to come together with a common goal. And so that's one thing that I've done in my professional career. You know, in the real estate business, you got to get the buyers and the sellers and the developers all to kind of agree. And in the legislative world, a similar way like that as well.
That's right, Keith. And you've done a lot of volunteer work, also volunteer.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one big thing I've known about the telethon. You know, it's being a young guy at the time, and so I want to tell you, I really appreciate you coming on today at a local here at 24. And so we'd love to have you again. And,
well, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Yeah, thank you. This is Kip Chappell at TV24, and we got another special guest that's coming on board, Mr. Bill Lester. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing
How
good.
you doing?
Glad to be here.
It's good to see you, Bill.
Well, you know, here more recently, I guess it depends on what you want to say by recently. We've been here in Calhoun County in Jacksonville for about 18 years, raising our family. I'm a husband, father, grandfather. Sharon, my wife, and I have been married for 31 years, raising 7 kids in the area and 2 grandkids, a 5-year-old granddaughter and a 2-year-old grandson. We've been in the area for a while now. We definitely consider it home.
That's great, Bill. You are a professor at JSU. Tell me a little bit about how long you've been there and some of your journeys, some of the things that you've done.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, you know, one of the reasons that we're here is Jacksonville State offered me a job.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and we had a number of places to choose from, and fell in love with Jacksonville.
Yes.
And the area. It's a beautiful place to live, and coming and being a part of this community was very important to us. So I've been a professor at Jacksonville State now for the entire time, 18 years. Political science department originally. I'm now part of the emergency management and public administration department at JSU.
That's great, Bill. And you live in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I live in Jacksonville.
That's great, Bill. Also, I wanted to ask, what is some of the things that you'll like to do once you are elected in this position?
Well, there's a lot of things that we could talk about, and we get into a lot of specific issues. I think it's really important for the voters to understand, kind of the heart of where a candidate's coming from. I didn't mention it earlier, but I've also been a youth pastor for 25 years.
Yes.
Yes. I've been to over 50 youth camps, and I think it is absolutely vital that we hand off to the next generation in Alabama and in America that is better than what we have now. And I'm concerned. That's one of the reasons that I'm running. I've got to be able to look at, our children, my children, our grandchildren, and say that we did our best. Some really large topic areas. Education obviously comes to mind. We have some real challenges in Alabama. We, depending on what you're looking at, we're somewhere between 47 and 50 on most of the rankings. We obviously can do better. And to do better, we're going to have some new people and new ideas in education. I've spent my life in education, and I believe I'm qualified to help. I've also been in public school classrooms. I have a lifetime certificate as a public school teacher, and I think I understand some of the struggles that teachers go through and what we're going to need to do to try to help get what they need to the classroom in order to help students. The other part, business, taxation. Alabama has the potential to I think to be one of the best rooms in the House of the United States. We can look at all the other states. Alabama needs to be a shining example to the rest of the nation, and I think we absolutely can do that. And I'd like to be a part of that. That's frankly one of the reasons that I'm out here running for District 40.
That's great, Bill. With your experience and the things that you have said this afternoon, a minister, church, and also just being a part of Calhoun County and the things that you are doing. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you have seen since you've been campaigning? Is this your first time running for office?
Well, I've served on the Republican State Executive Committee for a couple of terms, so I've been able to help in that regard. I did run for the District 40 seat. Seems like it was about a dozen years ago.
Okay.
And Chappell Brown, our current representative, was in that race. And I'd like to say, and really, this is the truth. Out of that race all those years ago, every one of us are friends.
That's great.
And we were striving for the best for Alabama. That was a great experience. This has been a great experience as well. I've met a lot of wonderful people out there, all the way across Calhoun County, Jacksonville, and it spreads out to the eastern part of the county down toward Oxford. Takes in about half Oxford, maybe a little more.
Right.
All of Cleburne County. It has been it's been a joy to meet the farmers, the business people, the students, and we've got a lot going on here. And I am looking forward to being a part of our future.
That's great, Bill. Is there anything else that you can tell the viewers here this afternoon about your position and what you're going to be doing once you are if elected?
If elected, yeah. Well, I promise that I can work hard. I've worked hard all my life. It's very important to listen in this position. Listen to the people, listen to what they have to say, and that's something I've been doing out on the campaign trail. But there's something else I think that's really needed for District 40 and Alabama in our future. I've spent my life in public policy and public administration. I've worked on legislation. Frankly, I'm a disaster response expert. I spend time looking at that. That is intergovernmental relations, IGR. And what we are going to be doing is definitely having federal, state, and local governments having to interface, and I'm very well capable of that, and have done that throughout my career. So I'm looking forward to that. But we also need people in Montgomery who can stand up to federal government overreach. If I was to boil it down to three things, I would say it is the First, the Second, and the 10th Amendment. The First Amendment, we've got people telling us, and corporations and others, to be quiet, not speak up. Second Amendment, It goes back to the founding. The founders knew that we needed to have a right to bear arms. And then the 10th Amendment, it just has not, it was put in by the founders so that state governments could be full partners. And that's not been happening recently. We have the federal government trying to tell everyone what to do and reaching down. Federal overreach is a real problem. And I think we need to elect people who understand that and can help to bring, I think, a right order to state, federal, and local relations.
Bill, we really appreciate you coming here this afternoon. And Bill Lester is running for District 40, Alabama State Representative. This is Kip Chappell, TV24.